Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, talking about the company that makes these, a company called APFG, kind of an unknown brand until a couple of years ago, probably until about a year ago really. Popped out of nowhere, everyone was like, who are these APFG guys? Started making predominantly or only actually SIG replicas. So they were not branded, or they're not branded when you buy them. They don't have the SIG trades on them. This is my MPX K made by APFG. And as you can see on the magwell here, where normally you would have SIG trademarks, serial numbers, etc. It does not have that. Now, the story about this company, or the backstory, which I don't know if is entirely true. So this is the rumor mill. This is kind of what I've heard. Don't take it for fact, but this is kind of what people think this is these are actually made by VFC. So a very, very popular and large airsoft company. They make a ton of replicas, both AEGs and gas blowbacks. You may have heard of them if you're into airsoft, but they effectively made, or this is a company that is tied to VFC. Now, why would they do that, you ask? Very, very good question. And apparently, again, this is the rumor mill, they had a contract with Sig Sauer, who make these, the real steel counterparts of these replicas. They had a contract with Sig Sauer. They were making, and they have made all of the AEG versions, so the electric versions of these. And there was some issue there where they lost the licensing for the gas blowback replicas they were making of these Sig Sauer replicas. And what I heard, again, take everything I say with a pinch of salt, and this is not real. What I heard is that then basically they had done all of this research, this development. They'd already built out a load of the actual replicas themselves ready to ship and to sell. And so what they ended up doing is, instead of saying, right, we're just going to sell them anyway and we're going to get in massive legal trouble with Sig Sauer, they said they decided to start a subsidiary company not linked to VFC, just in case there was legal blowback, called APFG, and they basically would sell these replicas under the name of APFG. Now, these, when you buy them, are not technically called the Spear or the MPX K. When you buy them on retailer websites, a lot of the times that's what they'll call them, because this is very clearly a copy of a Sig Sauer MPX. It is exactly the same dimensionally as what that is. However, they have different kind of code names for them, and I presume similarly that is due to the legal side of it. This one that I've actually got is an APFG, but I bought it from a manufacturer called Octagon Airsoft in Hong Kong. And as you can see here, it does have SIG trademarks on it. So there are people out there who will take your APFG replica and put on trades for an extra fee. So it is possible to get trades on these APFG replicas, but that kind of gives you a bit of a backstory of APFG. If you're looking at buying one, you're thinking, where are these APFG, like, who is this company? Should I trust them? Do they make good products? Basically, all of that long story means that APFG is VFC. And people have verified this. They've looked at different parts that are actually used within the APFG replicas. Some of them have VFC trademarks on them, etc., etc. So as far as I know, and this hasn't been disproved since I've had these replicas, which has been over 9 months, this is a VFC replica. So I'm going to talk about these now as if they are VFC, because effectively, from my knowledge, they are. Now, I've got two of them that I absolutely love. I have to say, if you're thinking about buying one of these and you just want to go and buy one and you don't want to watch the whole video, hit pause now, just go and buy it, because I really have very little negative to say about these. So it's going to be a short video on the negative side, and I'm going to talk through why basically I like these so much. And so if you just want to hear the fanboy kind of pouring out his love over two of his replicas, then stay tuned and keep watching, subscribe. But this is the MPX K. I think they do two MPX models. They do a longer version and then this, which is their compact MPX K. It does not look exactly like this. It's very similar when you buy it, but what I've done to this is I have changed a few things. But what it will come with is no sight on it. It's going to come with the main body. It's going to have a different grip to this, the actual Sig Sauer grip that is attached to it, a black version. It's not going to have a suppressor, not going to have a flashlight. It's not going to have this front foregrip, and it is not going to have an M-LOK rail that looks like that. It is going to have an M-LOK rail, but this is actually a real steel one that I've put on here. It will come with a stock, and it's not going to come with this extended mag release that I've put on here. Other than that, it is going to come as it is. It's going to look exactly like this, other than those external parts that I've changed or added on, I should say. And I would say you can take it out the box and you can run it, and it is great. The cost of it's going to be about $360, which I think for a gas blowback replica of this quality is really good. I think this thing is... The actual MPX K I really like. For one, obviously it's a shorter primary that you're going to use. It's more of an SMG PDW style, so you've got that kind of close quarters combat advantage of having something that's very small and compact. However, I love that it has the kind of standard AR style selector switch, like those controls that actually, if you've played Airsoft, you've played with an M4, you've played with anything that is along those lines, you're not going to have a big adaptation to playing with this. It's going to be there, and like the actual controls themselves are ambidextrous, so again you get that added bonus. You can hear here, like the clicks are really definitive on the selector. So like I've run this one quite a lot and I've had no issues with it at all. I've had maybe 1 or 2 jammed BBs actually in the thing, which has just taken me to re-rack the action, pull the bolt back, and it's released it, and that's been it. And I don't think it's really the fault of this. It's probably just a mag feed issue. But it's really, really great. This stock that it comes with, which is the telescoping stock, this is, again, basically as good as and as close to real steel. In fact, this is the real steel one. I have the replica that came with this on another of my replicas, and that is, in fact, does it come with the stock? I don't think it does come with the stock. You may have to buy the stock separately, but the stock that you can get made by APFG is exactly the same. Like it is, obviously, it's probably not going to be the same quality as a real steel, but it is very, very close, and I really have not been able to tell any difference when I've opened them, closed them, done anything like that. My camera's decided not to follow me. So I would really, really just say get the replica version of that, and I love that these are actually built to kind of just compress here. So the actual gun length when you've got it, if you don't have this extended silencer on it, is tiny. You know, it's an MP5, basically rip-off, knockoff, improved, if you can improve on the MP5 version. But the quality of it's great. The actual paint on it's great. I think for that $350, you're really going to struggle to find anything that performance-wise and build-wise is going to be up to this level. It's adaptable. Like you really can just put anything real steel on it. So I've got a real steel stock on here. I've got a real steel Magpul K2 Plus grip on here. I've got a real steel handrail on here. These all will just slip in and off of just from real steel onto this replica. It is exactly, from what I've worked out, exact dimensions of what you're going to need. And so you can literally just put anything that you want on this that is built for that. And the actual performance of it is also really good. Like it can... The one issue actually, and I'm going to go into the issue here, the one issue that I have with this is that it overhops BBs. And that is only going to happen when you're using certain weights. But if you're using basically anything below a 0.32 gram BB, which I don't choose to do anyway, if I can use BBs, I use heavier better, 3.2s and ups. But if you're using something less than a 3.2, you're probably going to have to play around with the hop up on this in terms of like shaving the nub down or doing something, because it will overhop them. It will do a, you know, the backspin's going to go too far. It's going to spin it too hard so that when it gets to a certain distance, that hop up is going to make it kind of shoot up in the air more than you would want it to. Now, I don't think it's a huge issue. Like it is a huge issue if you're using this outdoors and you're not using 3.2s. I use this indoors, and the site that I play at indoors only allows you up to 0.25s. Because it's so close quarters indoors, I don't have the issue with that. It's not got enough space before it starts overhopping. So I haven't really had to mess around with it at all. But that could be something that you may want to bear in mind, is this thing loves to overhop BBs. So if I was getting one and you're thinking about buying it now, I would get 3.2s or heavier BBs that you're going to run with it and just use it as it is. You can always change the hop up nub, play around with the actual rubber and the inner barrel if that's something you want to do later. But just be aware, if you're going to like pick it out of the box and go and take it to play with it the next day, that's something you're going to have to factor in. My favorite thing about this is this, which you've probably heard me talking about a lot, is the trigger. It literally has no give, and it is a straight break, and it is a real crisp kind of just like, it's heavy, and I like a heavy trigger. You know, I think some people like that hair trigger thing, and I thought I did before I got this, but it really is like just so satisfying to shoot it and super responsive. In fact, I'll show you what it's like now. Let's just make sure there's nothing in there. These are great, the mags. They're expensive still. They're in their $40 range, as all gas blowback mags are going to be. But they are really well built, really light. Which I think for an SMG mag is great, because it would in real worlds be carrying 9mm rounds, so it should be lighter. Takes a ton of gas, will fire through this thing, no feed issues that I've had. Only other thing actually I would say is if you are loading it in here, make sure that you kind of like find that wall and drive up from there. If you drive up straight at a weird angle, it can vent the gas. And that again is just muscle memory. It's something you're going to get used to, but it sits in there, very little wobble. The charging handle is a solid size charging handle, dual side release. So you've got this flick here and you've got the regular bolt release here. So I'll just hit that with the bolt release, and then I'll give you the how reactive it is just in terms of the snappiness with the trigger. Like not a ton of recoil, but a good amount of recoil. Like obviously with these, the bolt is smaller. It's basically just going to be this size. Doesn't have like a buffer tube for it to fully come back in. So it is going to be a snappier, less kind of fired bolt, less solid recoil. But I actually think you don't really notice it in Airsoft. Like it's really, really fun. And so that's how it fires like that. Full auto, this is like the rate of fire you could expect. So the rate of fire is really quick. Like I think this is a 35 round mag, just from my mind, from what I'm thinking. And so really, if you are using it in any kind of like proper Airsoft game, you may well not actually end up doing the full auto ever, because you'll just burn through a mag very quickly. But it is so satisfying to fire it. What I do have is some clips, and I'll probably put them up as shorts, but I've got clips of when I finished a game and I'm like, right, I need to unload my mags. I'm just going to mag dump, and I will just put all of my mags in one after one, and I'll just full auto dump them. And it is just so... Okay, so that's how many BBs I got out of that thing, which is pretty mental. That was cycling the entire way through. So performance, I think, is absolutely incredible. So yeah, that's my MPX K. Just to run through, I've got an EOTech on it, Unity PTS tactical riser, mod light, surefire switch, die-free tiger claw. I've got this, which I have tried to find another link for. If you want to find out what this is, let me know. But this is a Mock Sig suppressor with a tracer unit in it. Magpul K2 plus grip, did I already say that? And then this is a real steel telescopic, what do you call it? Telescopic SIG stock. But I would say if you can get the like cheaper one, this one's like $250. You can get one for like $80, which is the APFG one. Just get that one because it really doesn't make any difference. But out of the box, fantastic. Also, I would put an M-lock on here. Sorry, a QD release M-lock mount. You've got one that is actually on the lower here. So for me, I just run my sling there and there. But yeah, I would buy this 1,000 times over. That is now very, very cold. Yeah, I would buy it 1,000 times over. I'm just going to readjust this camera. I've got my new setup here and I'm trying to like work out how I can. So if I go down here, then I re-engage it and then I sit up. There you go. You can see my head properly now. That's an advantage. So that thing's amazing. For $350, buy it, buy it, buy it. This is the second one that I got, and I absolutely love this. I would say I prefer that, and that is just there because it is my go-to like SMG PDW shorter. I've got my shotgun, I've got that, and then I've got my primary full-size rifles. And the only reason that I would say I don't like this quite as much is because I've got so many other different primaries that are full-length rifles to choose between. And this is amazing and it's really high up there, but I've spent a lot of time and effort working on other ones. And so it's amazing. I love it. It's just, I don't know if it's like the number one. But these are about 550, maybe 560, depending on where you get it from. They run off those are kind of proprietary mags. They're made by VFC. They're pretty easy to get hold of, but they don't have another VFC model that takes those mags. So you're not going to have those mags lying around probably unless you've got the APFG MPX K. This takes the regular VFC mags. So it is the VFC gas system. It's basically the same in this and the same in this. Obviously they're different configurations, but it is all on the same kind of technology, which means again, you've kind of got a really good trigger. I actually don't like the trigger on this as much. It's a little bit less, like there's a little bit of give there, and it does have a really good click and a really good little reset click, but it's not quite, in my opinion, quite up to that level, even though it is absolutely awesome. It comes with this stock, this one, and I love this stock. I think some people might love it, some people might not like it that much, but it really is super lightweight. I thought it might be a bit small actually for this replica, or just like not heavy enough to actually have it out there, but for me it's the perfect length. It folds away, it's super lightweight, it doesn't get in the way. It's one of my favorite stocks that I've seen which doesn't have any adjustability other than folding. So that comes with it. Build quality is great on it. The coloring on this is awesome. I have done a couple of like little scratches here where I've just accidentally put a screw too tight, or like I actually was just installing this QD mount, Magpul QD mount on the Picatinny on the top. Not a big deal. It does have the kind of like signature slight discoloration between the upper and the lower, which if I didn't know that that's kind of like how SIGs are, I probably would be annoyed by that. But that's kind of like, that's how they come. There is a little bit of like non-alignment fully with this. Like it's not like it fully is going through in that same way as probably, I don't know what the real steel is like, but you can literally take that stock, put it on here. It's got these guide rails that you can just slip it straight onto. QD releases already built in on here, and then I've ended up putting one on top of this here. Super easy to use. Again, it's got those same controls that is just very clicky. It's your AR standard controls. So you can basically go from having your AR, not really giving up anything in Airsoft. Like, I think it's different in real steel, but you're not really getting a ton of recoil in Airsoft anyway. And so not having that buffer tube, the adjustability, you can get different types of stocks. I've got different versions for this, but you're not giving much up with that. And again, it's like tons of M-lock on this thing. You know, the spear is a very popular, or like a lot of people love the spear in real steel. So it's going to be the same benefits that you have in this. The performance on this again is awesome. I think it does slightly overhop again, but it's probably not to the same degree as you've got with the MPX K over there. But this, again, it's got like a ambi charging handle, ambi fire selector, ambi bolt release, ambi mag release. So you've got everything you need in ambidextrous. Like, I love this bolt release where it is. It really is nice. Like the clack of it closing on my microphone there. It's just a great replica. And every time I pick it up, I think I like it more and more. So again, if this is something you're thinking about buying and you're watching this video, just don't even bother, keep watching, just buy it. Although you may want to see what the recoil is like on it. I'm just going to check that we don't have anything in there. This is going to be the recoil. Oh, if I haven't got an empty mag in there. So that, again, you can see like the actual, like the movement of it. It's just so snappy, really fun to shoot. This is the full auto. So not quite, is that just vented? No, not quite as fast, I don't think, as the MPX K, but it's not far off. And so if I was looking at APFG, like, you've already got my seal of approval, I would buy it. But if you're looking at APFG and are like, hey, I might want something that can do everything, this is probably going to be the one you would go for. That probably range-wise, etc., is not going to be much different. You're going to have a shorter barrel into it. You may want to change that. But this, again, out of the box, shoots amazing. I've just, in terms of like adaptability, it's the same thing. It will run everything. This is real. This is real. This is real. This is real. It's going to be harder to change out these like monolithic handrails, because obviously it's not going to take the same as an AR would, because the actual upper goes all the way to here. Like, that rail is all part of the upper, and then this handrail is the only separate piece. So for 550, again, like, I would go for an MWS, because MWS, they're made by TM. TM do amazing stuff. But VFC now have done so many good gas blowbacks. I know some people have had some hit or miss experiences with them, but I have to say, I am such a TM guy, but when it comes to gas blowbacks now, I really put VFC pretty much at that same level with them. The gas efficiency is good. I love as well, they have like a little rubberized piece in here, which just keeps, it's an AccuWedge, but like their own version of it. It just keeps the upper and lower tight. And so whenever you're playing with it, it just is so solid. There's no like rattle in it at all. And I think it's just a very good looking replica. I don't know if you agree. You may be a SIG fan. You may think you hate them and you way prefer a kind of AR base. But I think they're really, really good looking. So obviously I haven't tested these for years and years and years, but if you are looking at getting an APFG and you've just clicked onto this video and you've thought, is it worth me spending the money? Do I risk it? 100% yes. Don't blame me if you get a bad one and it breaks. But from my experience with the APFGs that I've had, I really, really like what I've got. Other things actually which I thought about for the future is, because of the background story I gave you about APFG, I don't know what their plan is in making future things. I know that I've heard they may be making an XM7, like the actual, I've got the Toxicant version, but it's the kind of US Forces 6.8 caliber, like bigger bad boy version of this thing. I've seen some kind of pictures or clips leaked online of an XM7 with no branding on it, no trades. So that could be the case. But I'm thinking, I don't know if that is just the company they started just to do those replicas when they lost the contract with SIG. They just were like, okay, right, we need an entity just to sell these. We've already done the designs. We've already got all of the manufacturing set up. We're just going to do it. So I don't know if they start releasing new models under that name, or if they now just go back to, we're going to do it all under VFC and we're going to go and get the licensing. I think there's going to be a big market for them if they do the XM5 or the XM7 and they don't charge $1,600 for it like Toxicant do. But I don't know if they're actually, I haven't heard of any actual new APFG releases coming out. They kind of did their, we're doing the MPX K, we're doing the Spear LT, and they haven't really actually come out with anything else. So if you have more information on that, I would really like to know. That's going to be the kind of quick discussion topic video today on APFG. If you have more information about that company as well, always want to hear it. So please do put it down in the links in the description. Please put it down in the comments. If you'd like to become a member, I'd really appreciate it. If you would like and subscribe, I'd love that as well. And I will see you very soon on the next video. Goodbye.